Welcome to my Week 9 battle of the PDL. This week, the Chicago Grookies are taking on Aiger, coach of the Ironheads. We are currently placed 7th overall with a 4-4 record. Hopefully we can win this one so we can maybe end in a 5th position with 5-4. It just depends on how the two people ahead of me play. But the higher position means I have a better placement in the playoff bracket, which is very important to me. I don't want to play one of the higher performing coaches and then get pushed out. But first we have to get through this battle. Aiger has a very threatening team, so let's take a look at it. His team consists of Mega Scizor, Zygarde 50%, Florges, Azelf, Crobat, Thundurus Therian, Greninja, Volcanion, Jellicent, Virizion, and Wigglytuff. This team was very hard for me to prep for because it kind of has two modes. It has a very offensive mode with Greninja, Thundurus, Mega Scizor, Azelf, but it also has a very defensive side with, again, Mega Scizor being very defensive, Florges, Jellicent, Volcanion can be defensive, so I really had a hard time figuring out how I wanted to go about beating this team. I ultimately think hazard stacking is going to be my best option here. They do have two defoggers in Mega Scizor and Crobat, but both of them can be threatened pretty easily by my team. I have no way to punish Crobat for going for defog, but I do have ways to threaten it afterwards. So first up, we have Mega Lopunny this week. This is a huge offensive threat to his team. They have nothing that naturally outspeeds this, so they will have to have a Choice Scarfer. I'm really predicting Azelf to come as a Choice Scarf option. It looks really good against my team. We do have enough speed on this Lopunny to outspeed Crobat. We're rocking Fake Out and Return. Those just hit very hard. Didn't really need Fighting Stab this week, so we're rocking Fire Punch for the Mega Scizor, and then Ice Punch hits the Zygarde as hard as possible, as well as hits Crobat and Thundurus decently as well upon switch in. Next up, we have Dragalge. We're going to be using this as a Toxic Spike setter. It has a really good matchup as well, hitting tons of things hard. We have enough special attack investment to be able to 2-hit KO max special defense Florges with Sludge Wave after Stealth Rocks and with it having leftovers recovery. I wanted Dragon Pulse originally because I don't like dropping my special attack and allowing something like Scizor to come in and set up, but we're running the Pyapa Berry because I have a feeling Azelf might lead here, and if he clicks a Psychic move like Psyshock on me, I will be able to take that hit and then KO back with a Draco Meteor. Sludge Wave has a very good chance of knocking it out, but there is always the rules where it doesn't, and I didn't want to risk not KOing Azelf on a lead matchup. Dragalge, no matter what, is my dedicated lead. It's super good into my opponent's team here. Running Calm Mind Clefable, pretty common set I've been running. It's so good. We're running Babiri Berry. This allows me to take a +2 max attack adamant bullet punch from Scizor, and I can do about 70% back with Flamethrower, and if I set up a Calm Mind, I do KO it with Flamethrower at that point. Moonblast hits the rest of the team besides Volcanion. That does wall me a little bit, but the rest of my team can wear down Volcanion, and Clefable can still do a good amount of damage with it with Moonblast, and if I'm boosting up, I can boost past it and be able to recover on it. Choice Specs Chandelure looks absolutely fantastic. It's not the fastest thing here, but what it is faster than, it just tears apart. I have enough speed on here to outspeed Volcanion, rocking a Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, and Trick. Trick is on there to stop maybe a Calm Mind Florges from setting up, or if Wigglytuff's being annoying setting up screens or something like that, I can trick it at Choice Specs so it can't do those things. But mainly it's just to do as much damage as possible. Shadow Ball is pretty much unresisted. Greninja can switch in probably once on it, and I don't think Wigglytuff comes, even though I just mentioned it. I don't think it has the best matchup here, so Shadow Ball is pretty much free. Running another offensive Gliscor this week with Agility. Also have Fling, so we can get rid of our Toxic Orb to do max damage with Acrobatics. And then Facade is on there because Thundurus resists the Acrobatics, and I wanted to be able to hit that as hard as possible. I plan on using this as like a mid-game breaker to break through some of the more defensive things like Florges, Zygarde, and I even do a good chunk to Mega Scizor with Acrobatics as well with my max attack adamant. This has enough speed so that at +2 we outspeed a Choice Scarf Greninja just in case that comes. And finally, a hazard stack team would not be a hazard stacking team without the hazards. So we have Fortress rocking Stealth Rock, Spikes, Volt Switch, and Rapid Spin with the red card. Didn't really want leftovers on this, and Resist Berries didn't make too much sense. So we have the red card in case maybe Mega Scizor tries to set up or just generally something's being annoying and I want it to swap out. It works pretty well. That is the team. If you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the battle. Alright, my opponent brings Mega Scizor, Florges, Volcanion, Thundurus Therian, Crobat, and Virizion. It kind of sucks that they don't have Azelf because my Pyapa Berry is a little bit useless. I don't want to say useless, but it's not as useful now. I can still take a Psychic from maybe the Thunderous, but I still think either way, Dragalge is my lead here. Toxic Spikes look alright, not as good because they do have 3 immunities, but I will try to get them up at some point. Either way though, it just puts on so much pressure to my opponent's team immediately. So we're going to lead Dragalge here like intended. My opponent leads Scizor. So I immediately am threatening this with a Hidden Power Fire. I don't imagine they stay in, so I'm just going to set up a Toxic Spike for free here. No reason to try to predict and go for a Sludge Wave or Draco that this thing might resist. So Toxic Spike is just free here. If they want to try to Swords Dance up in my face, I have Fortress in the back with Red Card that I can immediately swap into, and they just Mega and U-turn. So we get a Toxic Spike up here, and let's see who they go out into. It is Crobat. This might be Super Fang, could go for Defog. I wonder how much I do to it with a Draco Meteor. If this is a bulky Crobat with max HP, I do about 72 to 86%, which totally seems worth it to me. If they go Florges or Scizor here, I'm not really too punished for going for Draco, so I'm going to click that here and just do a ton of damage to this Crobat as they Defog, so hopefully we hit here. We do, and that does 65%, so that does show me that this has some special defense investment in it as well as HP. I see either a Super Fang or a U-turn coming out here. Part of me wants to go out into Clefable, but I don't know if he wants to take 50%. And another part of me wants to kind of go out into Gliscor and see if I can get an agility up here early, as well as get my Toxic Orb activated. So I think Gliscor is overall the best play. I'm going to go out into that, as they just roost. So we get my Toxic Orb activated here, and I'm going to be able to agility up and be faster than his team and just put a ton of pressure on. I'll be able to fling my Toxic Orb onto something as well and get a Toxic on something. So I'm going to agility here just to become faster than this Crobat. Alright, they swap out into Mega Scizor, so we get an agility up here. I cannot go for acrobatics yet, and I could try to fling, but I think it's more in my favor to try to keep my Toxic Orb until I can fling something that's actually worth it. So I'm just going to go out into Fortress here and have them they're going to pop my red card here, so they get swapped out into Florges, which is actually the best case scenario for things to swap out into. It could go for a Hidden Power Fire here, which let me see how much that would do to me. Hidden Power Fire would be able to knock me out here, so I think going Dragalge is probably my safer play here. We are a little bit Spadef invested, so that's not a worry. They switch out into Volcanion as we have our Dragalge here. I wonder what kind of damage I take from Earth Power and what I do back to it with a Draco Meteor or a Sludge Wave. If it is Choice Specs, it can actually blow me away here with an Earth Power, which I was not expecting that much damage. But I would also do a tremendous amount back with Draco Meteor, and this thing is just overall really threatening to my team. I don't have the best switch-ins to it. So I'm going to go for a Draco Meteor here and just do a ton of damage. If they go out into Scizor or Florges, again, I'm not as punished. They go for Earth Power, and so that is 100% a modest Choice Specs Volcanion. That is the only way that that could have knocked out my Dragalge there. I want to go Gliscor on here because it's free, but then Mega Scizor just comes out. I could go Gliscor and then hard switch out into Chandelure reading that, and then I just have free Shadow Balls that I can click there. So I really like that play. I think it's my best way to pivot around this Volcanion because I have no way of just removing it here. So I'm going to go Gliscor and bluff that I have Earthquake here. They can't touch me either way because I know that they're Choice Specs, and so I'm just going to go Chandelure here on the Scizor. Alright, we are faster, and Thunderous comes out here. There is a role where Flamethrower kills, but I'm very punished for Volcanion coming in, so I'm going to go for Shadow Ball. There's one role where that does kill this, but overall, it's just a better play. Volcanion does come out here, and we are faster than this, so I just get another Shadow Ball here off, guaranteed. So now this thing's weakened, and if I put up Stealth Rocks too, it's less of a problem, so I'm glad that I will no longer potentially have to deal with this if they sack it here, which I honestly think probably is their best play. He could go Florges here. It doesn't have as many switch-ins now on my team that Dragalge's gone, but I'm not sure if it has Hidden Power Fire, considering it switched out earlier on Fortress. Alright, they swap out, saving it, and they go into Florges here, and this is a specially defensive Florges. I'm going to go out into Fortress here and try to get my Stealth Rocks up. As they go for a Wish, I have a feeling they're going to try to pass that to the Volcanion, so I'm actually just going to Volt Switch out here. If they go Thunderous, I'm not really punished. I can go Gliscor. Volcanion does come out. We go for the Volt Switch, which does not knock this out, but I'm able to go out into Lopunny, Mega Evolve, and start putting some pressure on this. So I'm going to go into that here. All right, we just Mega Evolve and go for Fake Out here. Scizor comes out, and I wonder how much Fire Punch does to this. I have no idea anything on this Scizor set, though, unfortunately. I haven't gotten to see it go for much besides a U-turn, but maybe I can get an idea off of that. Okay, from what I can tell from the damage that it did to Fortress, this doesn't have any attack investment, but again, it's very rough to say, so I'm not quite in a situation where I can go for Fire Punch on this yet. I think I need to go Chandelure here on a potential superpower. I don't think they knock off here. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go Chandelure here. If he goes for knockoff, that's really good. They U-turn and we do not get a Flame Body, unfortunately, but I wonder if I can now figure out if this does have any attack investment for sure, which, yeah, no, there's 0 attack investment on this. It might not even be Adamant Nature. No, so it's not even Adamant Nature on this Scizor. Chandelure is very hard for my opponent to switch into here, so I'm curious on what they go out into. Florges comes out, and I'm really tired of this thing putting up wishes. I don't want to allow it to keep doing that, so I'm going to try to trick it my Choice Scarf here, or my Choice Specs. And they actually protect, which is really annoying for me. Mega Scizor can pretty freely come out now, I think. I'm going to go out into Fortress so I can try to Volt Switch out on this. This is in whatever comes in. Alright, we go Fortress as Volcanion comes out. Very good read by my opponent here. I struggle with this a lot. They don't know whether I'm Flash Fire or not on my Chandelure, so I don't know if they very freely want to go for a fire move here. But I don't think that I live a Choice Specs Hydro Steam either from this thing. I meant Steam Eruption, but yeah, I definitely do not take a Choice Specs Steam Eruption from this. I don't know if Fortress is the most useful. I want to get my hazards up here. I'm also not sure if I want to keep Clefable around. Yeah, because I have absolutely nothing that wants to take a Steam Eruption here. And I actually think ultimately both Clefable and Fortress still have some use, as to where Gliscor I'm not too sure on. It can do something like once the Scizor's gone, but it's really struggling with that still around here. And if I want to remove that, I need Clefable. So I think if I want to go for a break with Gliscor, win with Lopunny, I need to let Fortress go down here. So I'm just going to sack this, go for some Stealth Rocks. Steam Eruption's going to take me out. And now I can just go out into either Chandelure or Mega Lopunny, and I think Mega Lopunny is just better, and I'm just going to go for Return. I don't think I need to go for a Fake Out here on this. I definitely have to go for Fake Out to be able to kill it, but I'm going to go for Return on this because I don't think they stay in here. They don't, so they go Mega Scizor, and this I think will actually put it into range where Fire Punch can KO it if it's Spadef. That damage is going to help me figure out, though, what kind of Scizor this is. I needed to get one good hit off on it. Okay, so it's looking like this is fully Fizdev, and Fire Punch just barely does not do enough yet. They did U-turn out last time, though, as I went Chandelure, and I don't think that they're going to superpower again, so I'm going to go for a Fire Punch and do almost KO this Scizor, so the next time it comes out, I can just remove it off the field, hopefully. And if they U-turn or knock off, or even Bullet Punch, we're not taking the most damage. Superpower is really the only thing that I need to fear here. Not being able to get hazards up is hindering me quite a bit in this game, which is unfortunate. I just kind of underestimated how much of a threat Choice Specs Volcanion would be. We get the Fire Punch off, and we do get a crit, which I do believe matters from my calcs. I'll be able to find out after the battle, but that's very good for us here to remove that off the field here. Scizor being gone opens up Clefable quite a bit, but I still need to weaken that Volcanion or get rid of it before Clefable can really sweep with Calm Mind here. Virizion comes out here. Part of me wants to think that this is Choice Scarf. Clefable comes out very, very freely on this, though. I can't think of anything that Virizion would go for that Clefable is immediately threatened by. It can set up. That is always an option. That is not something I overlooked. I was just thinking immediate moves. Let me see what I do to this with a Calm Mind, or a Moonblast, I mean. And how much do I take from this at +2? I take about 51 to 60, and I don't do as much back with Moonblast as I would like, but Mega Lopunny does outspeed this here. So I'm just going to let a Moonblast rip here. We'll do a little under 50%. Clefable does take a lot back, and we get another crit. My goodness. I was saying Calm Mind Clefable looks really good, and I still think it does, or it did, but I don't know if I can keep it alive here. I think I just have to let it go down, and then have Mega Lopunny come out to revenge kill this Virizion here. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Bring out Mega Lopunny, and then just go for a return here on this. Alright, we knocked that out, and I'm not sure if any of these Pokemon have Choice Scarf. We know Volcanion's Choice Specs. We don't know Thunderous's item, But Mega Lopunny might be able to clean up this team if Chandelure and Gliscor can weaken these last couple a little bit. Just a tad. Not anything too crazy. Alright, Mega Lopunny does not do enough to knock out Volcanion yet, so we're going to have to sack Gliscor here to a Steam Eruption, and then I can just go out into Chandelure and do a Shadow Ball, or I can go out into Lopunny. I think because Florges can come in, I think Lopunny's better. We go for Fake Out first. Fake Out into Return will knock out this Volcanion 100%. This is getting down to the wire, and if I don't win here, even knocking out as many as I can would be nice, but I don't think it's over quite yet. Mega Lopunny is still very good here. I just need to know that Thundurus is item, but the fact that I've kept Mega Lopunny full up until this point is just great as well. And even Chandelure is only taken about 10%. Alright, they switch out into Thundurus here, which takes a ton of damage from that Fake Out. I wonder if Return is actually going to kill that here. I didn't think it would, but after that kind of damage, Return straight up knocks this out, but I know what they're doing here. They're going to try to keep bringing Volcanion in and out, in and out, in and out, so that I can't, you know, keep trying to Fake Out it, because if I don't get that little extra chip damage, Volcanion just wins without a crit. So I do think I'm ultimately going to lose this here. I'm just going to go for Return, knock out this Thundurus here, and then Volcanion is going to come out here. And I don't think it's wise for me to sack Chandelure. I think it would be better if I hit the Volcanion with Mega Lopunny and then try to clean up with Chandelure, even though I don't know if I can beat Florges with it. It's just, I don't, like, if I go out into Chandelure, sack it here, and then go switch this back in and Fake Out, it's just, I ultimately lose. I'm relying on a crit on this Volcanion either way, so I'm just going to go for the Return here. Yeah, we don't KO it, and Steam Eruption is going to knock me out, so it just comes down to Chandelure clicking Shadow Ball here. We do knock out this Volcanion, but they might try to preserve it for differential. No, they just let it go down. Crobat might have Toxic. That might be how they end up taking me out here, is they go that Toxic and then just go Florges and protect Wish Stall me. Crobat comes out here. I have nothing to do besides clicking Shadow Ball. Oh, and they go for Brave Bird. That's just going to do a ton to me nonetheless. And so yeah, we're just going to go down to Brave Bird here. GG to Aiger. That Volcanion was super scary, and I just didn't prep as good as I maybe should have for it. But Volcanion put on a ton of work since my opponent did not have a Choice Scarf user this week. But yeah, really close. Either way, I still make playoffs, but I wish I could have seeded a bit higher. That's all right. Next week will be playoff week 1, so be sure to tune in for that. It's going to be a very awesome battle, and thanks for sticking out, watching the whole season with me. But yeah, if you enjoy, drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you all later. Peace.